Hey everybody, I'm Bob Bakert with Jazz Guitar Today, coming at you again with, hey Dave, it's Dave Stryker is with us today, and we're going to talk about his latest project, which is Dave Stryker Goes to the Movies. Um, and give me how does he say his last name? Wallop
Walrab.
Walrab with
Yeah.
Brent Walrab as the I guess the orchestrator and
Yeah. Or he's the conductor and
conductor
arranger.
and arranger. I got one word for this project, and that's wow.
Thanks, Bob.
I was, I was, especially, the In Your Eyes, the Peter Gabriel tune.
Right.
You're there with basically a small symphony orchestra, for God's sakes. Um, all, full strings, full horns, and then your trio with plus, and you're recording this thing live.
Yeah.
And you're taking solos and taking chances. And your solo on that is like it's phenomenal. And I'm going, that's pretty ballsy. I mean, because I can tell you're playing like you would be at the Iridium or anywhere else, your Birdland or wherever. I mean, you're just playing. And here you are with this recording with the I don't know how many people, is like 25 people maybe in the room,
30. 30.
30
Yeah.
people in the orchestra. And you don't want to. And the track was beautiful. I mean, everybody was playing just gorgeously. And of course, the only thing I can think of is, oh my God, that took a lot of balls, confidence for sure. But it's fantastic, Dave. It is an unbelievably great piece of work. Wow, tremendous.
Thanks, Bob. I really appreciate you checking it out. This is it was a dream project. I was teaching out at Indiana University. I just retired from there after 11 years, and that's where I met Brent Walrab. He was the arranging instructor and the big band professor, the guy that ran the big band there. And they had asked me a couple years ago, PBS asked if I would play on this tribute to Wes Montgomery called Wes at 100 because he had just turned 100. And of course, we know Wes is from Indianapolis. So, of course, I said yes, and Brent arranged that for big band, orchestra, and it went on to win an Emmy actually. So that was really great. And but it was that was the kind of the beginning of this project because afterwards I said, man, Brent, we need to do a project together, and he said, well, I think I could get us some backing. We should do something. And that's how kind of it started. I didn't really want to do anything Wes, thing because I felt number one, it's impossible. Number two, I felt like we had already done it with the PBS thing. Um, yeah, so we started kicking around ideas, and I said, "How about if we did something with movie themes?" And Brent said, "That's my two favorite things, movies and music." So we got busy, and we worked on it for about a year, and yeah, it was a real. I'm really excited about this project.
Well, I can see why. And I was just kind of going over the players on here. Xavier Davis, I mean, he fantastic.
Hmm.
Jeremy Allen, who I'm not familiar with, but I mean, he sounds amazing. And then McClenny Hunter was playing drums, and good God, I mean, it was just tremendous.
Yeah, the I kind of handpicked the rhythm section. A lot of them are from the Indiana area, because we did it out in Bloomington, Indiana, at a big studio out there. I brought McClenny in. He's the drummer in my group for the last several years, as you
Right.
know. And Xavier, I known from the New York area, as he had played on one of my records several years ago, but he's out at Michigan State now. teaching there, and so he came down from there. And Jeremy is the bass professor at Indiana University. So that's where the rhythm section came from. The strings are all from the Indianapolis Symphony, and the the what's kind of cool about this project is that it's not Brent decided didn't want to do a big band. He just is really just a five-piece trombone section, uh, and then like saxophone added, and on a couple things, two trumpets are added.
Right.
But so it gives it it's kind of the low brass sound, reminiscent a little bit of the way Mancini would write things with the low brass. And I've just knocked out by what Brent did with the arranging on this.
It's phenomenal. I mean, yeah, it's really funny. So I'm listening to a couple of the cuts, and I'm thinking to myself, is I thought I heard brass. And then all of a sudden, yeah, I definitely heard brass. But I mean, it's a tremendous thing. And your guitar, well, your playing is always phenomenal, but the tone of the recording, which is something that I really pay a lot of attention to, is how well things are captured. It looks like you're recording it in somebody's house.
Yeah, it was a converted church, this building. That the It's called Primary Sound. And the engineer is a guy named Jake Belzer, who's just fantastic. He put a lot of work into getting. I'm glad you noticed. He'd be happy to hear this too, and he will hear it. That you complimented the sound because he put a lot of work into it. It's also done as a Dolby Atmos mix, which I was new to me, but
Right.
apparently on Apple Music you can. If you have Apple Music, it's done in Dolby Atmos, which is kind of a surround sound. And even if you don't have the speaker setup that some people have now, you can just use ear pods, and you get the same effect. It's kind of fantastic to listen to it that way. But yeah, it was this big. There was a big giant room in this studio, and it does kind of. My son did a lot of the videos. I flew my son out. He's a filmmaker in
Oh, wow.
Austin, and he did a lot of videos for it. And when he walked in, he was just like, "Oh yeah, this is going to be good," because he's used to dealing with studios like that we do a lot of times where you're like in booths and
Yeah.
you're all kind of cramped in there.
Yeah.
And he saw that wide open space, and he dug it.
Well, I was watching some of the videos that are on YouTube. I don't know if all of the tracks are on YouTube or
No,
not.
I think we did about three songs, so there's one or two out now, and there are more coming.
Yeah, I watched the three that were there because I prefer to listen. I prefer to watch and listen to things on YouTube.
Yeah, especially the way that Matt did them. They're really nice.
They're really, really nice. I mean, the angle. I mean, all people don't understand that when you're looking at video or watching movies, how much art there is in capturing things so they look. I mean, so they look like what you want them to look like, and just the angle of that he caught your guitar at, and the way it's positioned with the other members of the orchestra was just tremendous. And Brand, of course, was it was really really well done on every angle. I can't. It's just I thought holy crap. My next comment is always, with in this era of, okay, we got one day to get 12 tracks down, and I got to be home by 7, you know, and that kind of thing, and with budgets are small and time is tight and nobody can rehearse and on and on and on and on and on. To come up with the cash
Yeah.
and to come up with the cash and then get the players dedicated to the project, and you can just see the dedication on everybody's expressions, what they're doing, and the respect, for the music, but not careful. I mean, it wasn't like everybody's afraid to play. I mean, the people are playing. Love the violinist.
Oh, it's Sarah Caswell. Yeah.
Oh my God. I mean, that's tremendous. And the other thing that's really, really nice, and I'm beginning to catch this. I was talking to Davey Mooney yesterday, and his newest project called The Word, which I think is a tremendous effort too, um, is melody and tone. People are really paying attention to that. I mean, your your treatment of the melody on these well-known themes is really, really nice. It's just
Thank you.
beautifully done.
Melody is king, man. Uh,
Melody is king.
um, you know, just going back to what you were talking about, I know that my son Matt will be happy to hear your compliments about the video for one thing, and you being an actor, etc. Seeing it in a visual way, is very appreciative. And you're right, everybody did was invested in this in a certain way. But to answer a couple of the points you were bringing up, we did have a backer, that the the Indiana Entertainment Foundation, which is uh, raises money for projects like this. And Brent has a group called the Bucelli Wallerab Orchestra that has done some projects, big scale projects, but really nothing like this as far as 30 pieces. And so that's how we were able to do it. And we were able to go in and rehearse. We had a full rehearsal. And then when we went in the studio, just to give you how the sausages are made, the first session was 11 pieces. So it was the trombone section, the horns, the four-piece rhythm section, and Sarah Caswell was there as well too, because she plays some solos on a few things.
Yeah.
So we recorded the 11 pieces, and then it was all scored out. And so then uh, about 2 weeks later, the string section, the 20-piece string section came in and put their parts on.
Wow, it's tremendous. So how did you, I mean, I'm interested in the tracks. Let's talk about the tracks a little bit. Uh,
Sure.
how did you guys select the songs? Is it like you took five, he took five? I mean, and then what drew you to the particular ones that you chose? Because it's a very eclectic list.
Well, we're you and I are around the same generation, so there was a golden era in the 70s of amazing movies from
Yeah.
Scorsese, uh, um, you know, uh, did Taxi Driver. So well, what we did is we both came up with lists of possibilities, and we knew we had, maybe we had 25, 30 tunes, movies, themes on the list, and we just started kind of narrowing it down. And Cinema Paradiso, that was that's like my wife's favorite movie, and that theme is iconic in a way, by Morricone, and Pat Metheny's done it, and a lot of people have done it. So I knew we were going to do that. I really like that James. I wanted to do a James Bond tune, and that theme, "You Only
I
Live
love that.
Twice."
I love that you put a James Bond.
Yeah, got to. I mean, I when I was coming up, man, and I those Sean Connery James Bonds, with I think Thunderball was my favorite. I remember that. That was
That's the Goldfinger and Thunderball are the two.
underwater. They had those
Yeah.
cool, like, little underwater
That
motorcycles.
was a crazy expensive movie to make at that time. I mean,
Yeah.
that was like the biggest, I think that was the biggest budget film ever made at that time. All the
Wow, I didn't know that.
It was
Yeah, Brent and I
unbelievable.
we're both way into movies. So, Taxi Driver I mentioned, Scorsese. Me, I had to do something funky, and with my 8-track stuff. I saw theme from Shaft. That was a no-brainer. And I got a funny story about that. I knew I was going to have to play wah wah on that intro, right?
Yeah,
What's Shaft without that wah wah part?
right.
And so I go, a couple of weeks before the session. I go in my studio here, and I said, "Look, I better get that wah wah out and plug that thing in 25 years." I pull it out, right, and I said, "Yeah, I'm sure it's going to need a new battery." So I open it up, and you've probably done this. You look in and it's just like, no,
The battery
the battery was. So I tried to
melted.
take I tried to take the battery out and just everything just crumbled. So I said, okay, get on musician's friend and order a new crybaby wah wah. But yeah, so that was that's a cool theme by Isaac Hayes.
Oh, that's great.
Of course, The Deer Hunter, that was one of those 70s amazing movies. Michael Cimino was the director of that. And the theme from that, the beautiful acoustic guitar theme is by Stanley Myers. And let's see, we did Anatomy of a Murder is a really cool movie with that Ellington did the score of, and he actually appears in the movie, the band does. And that's something I always it's interesting. I was on the road many years ago with Ilian Elias, the pianist singer, and we had a gig way up in Michigan somewhere. And we walked into the hotel to check in, and I see all these pictures on the walls of Duke Ellington and his band. I'm like, what is happening here? Why is And they said, this is where Anatomy of a Murder was filmed, and they all stayed here. And so, yeah, we ended up doing two pieces from that. What else? Oh, Moonglow. That's these are all from movies. That was from a
Yep.
movie called Picnic, an old movie, and that's a real, famous theme. We all know that one. And then the one song that came over from the West project was Dreamsville, because we know West did a really great version of that. And Brent had arranged it, and so that one I said, man, I'd really like to do Dreamsville, but that's from a TV show, Peter Gunn.
Right.
And Brent said, no, it was from a TV show, but it was so successful they made a movie called Gun. Uh, and they used it in that movie.
So you got your license to go.
There you go. And then the last piece, we one of the Greg, our co-producer Greg Reynolds, that helped, but get the backing and was very instrumental in making the project happen. We asked him, "What's your favorite musical?" And he said, "Sound of Music." So
Yeah.
uh, we just did that in one take, quartet. I sketched out a chart for it, and that's how the album ends. Just back to the quartet.
It's great. I don't know how to get to the Oscar people and the Grammy people and all of that, but man, you guys got to get an award for this. I mean, you really do.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. Yeah, I don't know. No, I don't think anybody knows how to do that, uh, we're proud of it. We put a lot of work into it, and it's really I feel there's a lot of beauty in this music, and
Oh yeah.
you really hit on it about the melodies. I mean, being able to just interpret a melody and have that backing behind you of the lush strings and the low brass. It was,
Well, there's some
it's a dream.
there's some eighth notes. I mean, excuse me, there's some half notes and quarter notes in there, you know. Not all eighths and sixteenths. And I mean it beautifully done. I mean, it's beautifully played and the guitar really and truly is a voice in all of this. I mean, it's really being treated, as the voice in a really cool way. And you're getting a great tone of your guitar. I never noticed, and I don't know when you did it. Maybe it's been this way the whole time, but the bridge of your guitar is wood on your 347.
No, it's
What is that?
funny you should ask. I just happen to have it right here.
Oh,
Uh, that's probably the most commonly asked question. That's just a tailpiece cover.
oh, it's a tailpiece cover.
So this 347, it's different than a 335. It's got the ebony fingerboard,
Right.
got
Yeah.
the split coil. And it was when they first came out in 78, I think they were trying to make a fancy 335 or something. They didn't
Yeah.
catch on that much, but they used these pickups called dirty fingers that were super punchy. I think they were like wrapped a lot more or something. And I really like the punch of it, but it's like if you try to play it through a small Fender amp, it's just completely, distorts because they're so punchy. And it came with the that tailpiece.
TP6.
Yeah, it had the little screws
Yeah.
that tune,
Fine
and
violin
that
tuners.
was like kind of useless for me. I mean, I'm I
Oh, those things are terrible. I mean,
and it's but they
I
were trying to make it fancy, so I took all the screws out, and then I kind of where I rest my palm when I play sometimes. I wore all the gold off, and so it was like, believe it or not, if I was playing, I would get like a rash on my like bad jewelry on my hand. So I said, could you make me a cover? And I had my guy build he just put a cover over the tailpiece. So that's what that is.
well, because I'm listening to the tone, and you're getting really a tremendous. Are you using 12s or 11s or what do you do? What do you?
I use 13 to
God,
56 Deodario, but the appreciate you hearing that, man. But as a fellow guitarist, I'm not surprised, because we listen that. I mean, I tell my students, sound, the big three: sound, rhythm, harmony.
right.
So the first thing people notice is your sound. Not everybody's a musician, but if you hear somebody with a beautiful sound, whether it's a saxophonist, Coltrane or Johnny Hodges or Ben Webster, and you hear that beautiful sound, it brings you in.
You pay
And the
attention.
next thing is rhythm, and rhythm is key. And then after if you have those two things, and then you can get into the harmony thing, and that it just kind of builds from there. But yeah, this studio happened to have an amazing Fender amp, um, like a vintage tube amp with
Was it a twin?
nope,
Lux, Vibrolux,
it had
Super?
like yeah, I think it had 112 in it, but it was I forget what it is, but it was owned by a guitarist in Nashville,
Hmm.
and it was sweet. But I used that, and then I also used my Henriksen with the larger one.
Yeah,
Not the I have the mini. I forget what it's called.
Bud. You
The
have the
Bud.
Bud.
But this is the one up from the Bud. So I had both of those in there, and we were able to mix them. We mainly used the Fender tube amp, but if it got too crunchy, we had the Henriksen. So I'm really, man, I was really, because that's always I was worried because I always use the same engineer when I do my records up here. A guy named Chris Sulit at Trading Eights where I do all my records. So if I was a little nervous about, oh, I hope this guy can capture the sound I'm looking for, and that was no problem. So as soon as I heard the playbacks, I was like, okay, I'm good.
It makes sense to me that you're using two amps on there because the this little bullshit technical, but the envelope the transistor amp, if you will, the solid state amp, and the envelope of the tube amp, it's just a little different.
Yeah.
And you can feel that, obviously in your hands. So when I'm listening to it, I hear that immediacy of the solid state, because they're quick. I mean, they're very, very quick. But I'm also hearing this overtone series of the tubes, and I'm going, what's and I swear to God, I thought it was the tailpiece being wood. I mean,
Oh,
I couldn't figure out what was going on because I pay attention to that kind of stuff because
yeah.
it
Yeah.
interests me. I was in audio for years and years, and of course I've got four guitars sitting around here and three amplifiers behind me, and all that.
Yeah, me too.
And yeah, so but I'm interested in all that stuff, and I was going, man, that's a really really good tone, and I've got this just to for reference, all right? So there's a big 17-inch arch top right here. And then there's also, it's not a Gibson, it's a Collings, but there's also, a Collings, I-35.
Right.
And the difference in these things acoustically and through it's huge. I mean,
Yeah.
it's huge. But this has got tens on it,
Right.
and the other one's got 12s. And so you've given me something to think about with, putting 13s. on that guitar because it sounds just like a big old jazz box. I mean, it sounds.
Well, yeah, yeah, I've been using that for years.
I know you have.
That 347 and the um 12s and 13s. I tell my students, don't go overboard with that because you can mess your hands up. I'm just so
Right.
used to 13s by now, and it doesn't feel that we all know the stories about Pat Martino. He was the king of heavy strings.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's legendary, but uh you know, you can get a great sound out of 11s, 12s, 13s, and stuff like that. I mean,
Oh yeah.
some
I
people
know.
play 10s, they sound fantastic, fine. I think Jim Hall used lighter strings,
Yeah.
um, and he certainly had an amazing tone. So, yeah, but I kind of like having that a little bit of resistance there, and I think it does give you a little bit meatier sound,
Gives
which
you it gives there's I mean I like it all, I mean I really do. And I Billy Gibbons I found out the other day is down to sevens. I mean I have no I,
wow.
I have no idea. Sevens. I've never heard of such a thing. Well, a lot of the rock guys, of course, they're the gains through the roof, so they're using eights. But I don't know. The thing that you do get out of the bigger string, and I can't handle them. I don't have those kind of hands. But you get there's that the immediate attack part of the wave is bigger. It's
All
just
right.
bigger. You get that,
Yeah.
every note's got, I mean, when Pat played his, we talked about this before. When Pat played him, that guitar sounded like a kick drum with pitch. It was like crazy. Um, so all right, here's a question for you. Has anybody talked to you about trying to perform this live at like Indianapolis?
It's funny. I was just at Birdland last weekend down in the theater with my organ quartet,
Yeah.
and I did. Since the record's out now, I would say this. We'd like to do a couple pieces now from my new record, and it's with a 30-piece orchestra. And here they come. No, and everybody laughed because could you imagine? Um, so yeah, that's we have one gig on the books. We will be doing this music May 3rd at Indiana University for their end of the year big called Jazz Celebration concert.
Wow.
So the music will be performed live there, and they might be filming that for PBS.
Well, I hope so.
But otherwise, I think that we and by the way, that Wes at 100 is going to be released on PBS nationally soon, and watch for that. I think they renamed it West a Celebration, and yeah, it would be a great project to be able to do if it was if somebody approached me with wanting to do a bigger project like that. So you never know. Maybe we will do it.
Oh man, I really hope so. I hope someone like the Hollywood Bowl says, "Hey," you
Yeah,
know,
that would be amazing, right?
wouldn't that be something? As like as part of I don't know, part of Oscar week or something. I mean,
Yeah, that it does have a cool angle because it's all these movie themes that people have probably recognize a lot of these themes.
well, if it blows up, there's no reason why the orchestra couldn't show up, as a performance at the Oscars. I mean, it's great stuff, and you're a very modest guy, but what I mean, I know that you put a lot of effort into it, but not only does it show, but I could put a lot of effort into it. I ain't coming up with what you guys did, no matter how hard I tried.
Well, I appreciate it, man. It was labor of love, and I owe a lot to a lot of people. I really hit it on the head that everybody that was involved, from from the orchestra to the rhythm section to the engineers and the video, people filming it, um, the producers, everybody was behind it, and I think it shows, the love that we have for the project, and
Well, it's
right, we tried to
tremendous.
make something beautiful, and I think it came out nice.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, that's an understatement. It's a signature piece for you, brother.
Thanks, man.
It really is. It's a signature piece. I mean, that's that's a serious statement that you made, and I'm not. I think people accuse me of always, no matter who I've got on, I'm always like effusive about my appreciation. But the facts are is that's I tell it the way I see it. If
Yeah.
I wouldn't have somebody on unless I felt that way about them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Same.
it's tremendous. I mean, and then what's really fun is, all right, so you go on YouTube, you put Dave Stryker on, and you got this orchestra, you got this whole thing, and then you watch you blow them with your organ trio or your quartet, and it's the same guy, but it's just a whole different. You go, wow, wow. And then of course you open for Steely Dan. Was that last summer, summer before last?
Summer before last, yeah.
Last summer was a bit of a blur for me. For me.
Yeah. Glad to see you out. You look
But
good.
it's really funny. Thank you for saying that. But I was messing with my camera today, getting colors and all that right. And I'm looking yellow, but I promise you, I don't look yellow in person. So if anybody says, "Geez, Bob looks sick," I'm not. I'm good. But the camera, I've got the color saturation all screwed up and everything like that. Um, so what else is going on with you, Dad? Are you going to be out touring, out playing? What's
Yeah, I have
on your schedule?
I just had a nice weekend at Birdland. I
Yeah.
will be the WDR big band from Cologne, Germany is coming over to the US. And Bob Minster is directing that, and they're doing a tour in the U.S. I'll be doing that in February. We're doing 3 nights in outside of Chicago at Elmhurst, the Elmhurst Festival, and uh, and then we're doing 2 nights at Birdland, and then we're doing 2 nights in Pittsburgh. And the first night in Elmhurst will be with the Yellow Jackets.
Oh,
So
wow.
so I'm sitting. You can't see it here, but I got a lot of music here to learn, so I'll be back working on that. Lots of, but it's great music, and that's a terrific big band. And as you remember, I did a record called Blue Soul right before the pandemic that was with the WDR big band and Bob Mincer,
Right.
and we'll be doing the first night's going to be. The Yellow Jackets music with the Yellow Jackets. The second night's going to be my music, and then the rest of the concerts are pretty much the WDR, their own music, and they'll mix some of mine in there, I think, too.
Well, what's interesting, and I don't have the guy's name in front of me, but the Yellow Jackets' new recording has a guitar player in it.
Oh yeah, Raul Madon.
Yeah, thank you. I couldn't recall his name, and the publicist for the Yellow Jackets is a friend, and she asked me if I wanted to do something, with them, and I said, well. I said, Robin played with them a long time ago, but they really don't do much with guitar players. I said, give me a way, give me a way in here. And so we're about to do something with him. And actually, I asked Michelle if she would ask Bob to just give me a sentence or two about, you know, the guitar and his history with the guitar with the Yellow Jackets, and why is he bringing this one? Yeah, I gotta put all that together, but it's interesting you talk about that. So you're doing Yellow Jackets material as the guitar players. I mean, I find that to be pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's great. I've been a huge fan of the Yellow Jackets forever, but uh, yeah, I just found that out because I went to see the Yellow Jackets at Birdland the other night.
Yeah.
And they announced that Raul Madon was on the new record, and he's amazing. So I'm sure it's going to be great.
It's like one of my next projects I've got to tackle. So I can't speak to it because I
Yeah,
haven't done it.
I haven't heard it either, but I just know from hearing a little bit of Raul that he's really something else.
Well, the stuff that you've done with Bob, there's a really good video of you and him in the studio doing some stuff, and I mean it's tremendous, and and I mean the guy's got a history. And what are you gonna say? I mean, it's 50
I
50
mean,
years of Yellow Jackets.
whenever think that I'm too busy or working too much, I just remember Bob because he just retired from running the jazz department at USC. He's got the Yellow Jackets that keep him very busy. He's also the chief conductor of the WDR big band in Cologne, Germany, and he's got his own band and his own big band, so he doesn't stop. But
More power
Good
to
friend of
him.
mine and great, what a musician.
Well, listen, I appreciate your time today. I'm really glad for you, man. I really am. I'm happy for you.
Well, I appreciate you reaching out and doing this talk today. I'm glad hopefully a few more people get to listen to this music and I hope they get enjoy it as
well,
much as you did.
well, let me say a couple of these things real quick. So right now in jazz guitar today, um, our uh, our guy Joe Barth, who knows more about this music than I ever will. You were kind enough to do a written interview with him. It's out today. And if people want to like get, the more in depth, on the tracks and stuff like that, you can with Joe. It's Stryker, Dave Stryker Goes to the Movies. It's there. It's in the magazine, jazzguitartoday.com. You can, put in Dave Stryker. You'll go right to the article. It's a really, really nice article, and it's you and Brent
Right.
are in it. So that's really, really cool. Um, so there's that. And then obviously this is going to be out pretty soon. What I will say, everybody out there in TV land, if you like what we're doing, please like, share, follow, tell all your friends. Please help us grow this. Many of you know I had a pretty bad year last year, health-wise, and but I'm back. Well, I'm not running 100%, but I'm not running 10% either. So, so that's good. Um, and we're putting out a lot of content, and we do appreciate you guys a whole bunch. I want to thank my buddy Dave Stryker for coming on, and man, thank you for your dedication to the music too. It's just tremendous. I sent a friend of mine. I sent him the some of the tracks that from YouTube, and I said, man, you've got to hear this stuff. So I wish you all the luck in the world. And if I can do anything for you on that, you just let me know. If there's anything else additionally that I can do for you, you let me know because this is tremendous and you deserve a big push. I mean, you, Brent, and everybody involved. This is really cool stuff, man. Really, really
Thanks so much, Bob. Really appreciate the support as always, and you guys are doing a positive thing, man. Trying to put some positive energy out into the world with this thing we call jazz guitar, and it is appreciated.
So Bob Bakert with Dave Stryker for Jazz Guitar Today. So long, everybody. So long, Dave. Thanks, buddy.
Take care. See you at the movies.
Bye bye. Yeah.